So the last couple of reviews I've been doing are kind of helter-skelter. I jumped from a Shark Story to Vampire Hunter D to X-Men now. X-Men reviews are a lot of stuff I want to do on this channel too in time. For majority of the videos I've done, you can tell I'm a huge X-Men fan. Unfortunately, I haven't reviewed the movies or the series yet, but I'm kind of wanting to start focusing back more on stories, in particular ones which I liked, and some of the most iconic ones out of the X-Men catalog. And I'm going to review, in my mind, perhaps the best grounded X-Men story that there is, in my personal opinion. God Loves, Man Kills. It's 96 pages. It's more of a graphic novel that Chris Claremont put out back in '82. I didn't read it until the second movie came out, which, you know, for as pretty much most of the concept of the story that this movie used, it is probably one of the best X-Men movies out there. Haven't seen First Class yet, but I hear that this rivals it, but that's beside the point. This story is terrific. We don't really get religion dealt with in a lot of comics, and usually it's in a very cynical way. This one kind of presents the downside of people that persecute in the name of God. To how iconic I feel this comic is. This is, if I had to equate this comic with a very important piece of literature, I would easily say that this is, that Claremont's God Loves, Man Kills is pretty much what Harper Lee's To Kill a Mockingbird is to literature. This is a terrific story. The basic plot in this is that William Stryker, who instead of being a military scientist as he was in the X-Men 2 movie, he's actually a televangelist in this, or a preacher that preaches on TV. And he's pretty much funding a hate group which is called the Stryker Crusade against mutant kind. And we get a little bit of a backstory on why exactly that he's wigged out in the way that he is, which is pretty sick. Basically, this man hates mutants, and this would pretty much resonate a little more with people that use religious intolerance against certain aspects of society we might not like. This is a big example, but you know, why not? In this case, homosexuality, which is more what the hatred was sort of a metaphor for in this story, which involved that big coming out scene with Bobby Drake about him being a mutant to his parents in that movie. This is a very human story. The powers of the mutants are barely present in this. And this also features the X-Men being teamed up with Magneto after Xavier has been kidnapped. Stryker has the Cerebro machine hooked up, and he's going to use Charles Xavier to put out a psychic mind blast, which would pretty much kill every mutant on the planet. And we just find out how much of a bastard the Stryker is in the story. The Stryker character very much personifies a lot of the televangelists, and when the huge conservative movement started rising up in this, because there is a little bit of a forward and a afterward, which talks about the times that this story came out. It kind of reflects a little on the feelings of certain televangelists and preachers that are out there, because let's face it, I could talk about how Christianity is portrayed in a lot of ways, mostly in a negative light, but I'm not going to do that here. Mostly there are guys out there that do misrepresent that. If I have to name names, case in point, Pat Robertson from the 700 Club, or even the late Jerry Falwell. And we can even throw in more modern days, the Westboro Baptist Church, who keeps making the news. People that are preaching religious intolerance, you know, there is a vast difference in between persecution and, you know, saying what is right and wrong, but this is more dealing with the persecution of something. It's just an amazing story. What really shines out about this to me is the character of Nightcrawler. He doesn't really have a bigger role in this. There are a couple of major points with him, but the thing about Nightcrawler, which is also why he's my favorite character, is that he really is the only character in comic books who has any type of a Christian faith. And I like the way he's portrayed. Kurt Wagner very much practices what he preaches. He may not like that, and he gets a lot of crap for his appearance, but you know, he still maintains a strong faith in the God that he believes in, and he very much is a brother's keeper in his faith. I mean, like, if I had to like count down, I might do a countdown concerning Nightcrawler, but or concerning why I like him a little more. But you know, his faith. If people doubted that there was a God, I think in a lot of ways that, or at least for some characters of how they regard Nightcrawler, the way that they're treated by him would show very much that God, that they would see God through him. And I think that's a really cool thing. And there's kind of a point to where Kitty Pryde actually confronts Stryker while he's broadcasting on television about Nightcrawler's appearance, and it's just a great story. I don't want to spoil too much about it, but if you were getting into X-Men, this is not necessarily X-Men Year One, but well, it could be sort of the X-Men Year One story. It's a good introduction story if you don't want to be too overwhelmed by powers and characters. There's very few of them in here. Wolverine is downplayed in the story. He's still kind of like back in the day where he was the underdog character instead of being like the invincible badass that he is. This is a terrific story. You know, it's responsible for this, but unfortunately the source material I feel for that story was still not paid much attention to. If you were to read X-Men for the first time, I would highly recommend this story. If you just want a good short story to read that kind of plays around in the realm of comics, you know, definitely check this one out. One of my personal favorites out of the X-Men stories, and I think if you read it, you will find it to be one of your favorites too.